Hello everyone and welcome back to Honest Reviews, the show where I take a game or a film or whatever and I cut the shit and I just give you my honest thoughts on it. And in today's video we are going to be covering Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Now before we get into the real saucy stuff here, I just want to apologize that this video is late. It was supposed to come out in July in time for Kid Icarus's Bandicoot month, or at the start of August, which is what I imagined it would have come out, but unfortunately it got delayed. But hey, it's here now, there's no need to stress, we are all good, and yeah, let's get going. So the way I figured I'd talk about this game is I will play through the story mode, and obviously because that will give me a taste of, you know, how faithful the game is to the original, how it controls, how it plays, and just, you know, just the game as a whole in general, you know, even comparing it to the old one. But anyways, so the story follows as, you know, Crash and all the other characters are looking for a race, you know, because all of a sudden they can drive cars. This motherfucker called Nitrous Oxide comes from space and challenges them all to a race, and if they lose, basically he can take control of Earth. That's basically the plot. That's as simple as it gets. There's no need to dilly-dally. It's a racing game. There's nothing more you can expect, and there's pretty much nothing less either. It's just a simple, straight-to-the-point plot. But does that mean it's bad? No, because the game hardly ever focuses on the plot, to be honest. It's more about get you through the levels and have as much fun as possible while doing it. And that's basically what we're going to be discussing, how well it manages this, and just how, you know, repetitive it can get, how boring it can be, how fun it can be, you know. Just all the general things that you should, you know, need to know about a game before you go ahead and splash $60 at it. But obviously, with this game not being a AAA title, it doesn't cost $60. Oh, well, for me that would be £50 in the UK. But just for convenience sake, $60. You know, standard retail price. It rather cost 25 for me. I don't know about you guys, but I paid 25 for this on the day it came out, and I couldn't be any happier. I've had this thing on pre-order for a long time, and I'm not disappointed, and I'll tell you why I'm not. So after the quite frankly gorgeous intro cutscene that showcases, you know, how each character has different personalities and how, you know, actually no, I'll say this, the characters are funny here because they actually interact with you. Like in the original, they just sat there in a car and talked to you, but here they actually have genuine animations, and it's great how much effort they put into this. You know, they didn't have to do it. It's just a small detail they did to show how much each character shines individually, and it's great. It's honestly great. Another thing to point out as well is that, you know, the game spends no time. You know, it doesn't waste any of your time. The second you start the game, you'll obviously get the cutscene, and then you'll be thrown straight into the hub world where you're free to drive around, practice your driving, or go to stages. And I think the way that they did this was, well, obviously it wasn't just done by them, it was the Naughty Dog thing, but it remains very faithful to the original, and I still think it's a great idea, and the way this game controls is blissful. Now, another game I will cover very soon is Team Sonic Racing, simply because these two games are quite similar. You know, in the fact that both racing games coming out at, you know, similar times, and they both feature two of gaming's biggest mascots. But obviously Team Sonic Racing is for another day. But I think this game handles level selection a lot better than that game, and the idea of this is obviously old, but in general the control to this game is some of the best controls I've ever, you know, had to handle in a kart race. So this game controls fantastically. It controls better than the original easily. Now, the game is just as fast, it's slippery and slidey like it was in the original, it's easy to get used to, and all around it's great fun. Now, the way that you will obviously keep your speed up is by doing drift boosts, which is something that this is, you know, it's something exclusive to the CTR formula, I believe, because I've never seen it in any other games. Now, while sure, you know, Sonic and All-Stars racing games and Mario Kart have drift boost, the way that it is handled in CTR is different. You know, obviously you'll power slide, you know, the traditional way, and then you'll press the opposite button that you could power slide with to get a boost. And the more you do this, the faster you're gonna go, and that is what you need, especially during online play or during Platinum Relic runs, because this game is fucking difficult, and I'll get into that later. But you have to keep your speed up at all times to win if you're not playing on an easy difficulty, to the point where your fingers may even start hurting. You know, that's how much effort you have to put into it. It's not a seamless kart racer where you'll just hold R2 the whole time and just expect the game to do it for you. No, you actually have to put in effort here. and that is great how, you know, they obviously, I think they cranked the difficulty up a tiny little bit from the original, and I think it's great how it was all managed and how it was all replicated but pulled off even better. Now, like I just said, I'm going to talk about this game's difficulty. Oh boy. Now, the original CTR was difficult. It's no secret that obviously the original Naughty Dog games were quite difficult apart from Crash 3, because obviously, well, I think they got easier as they went along, but CTR was an exception, definitely an exception. But that is not the point. The point I'm making is that this game feels harder than the original. I've played the original a good fair times as well to know this, so I don't think, oh, you're only a kid, you've not played it on the PS1. Believe me, I have. I have PS1 games, I have played CTR, I've emulated it as well, so I can see the difference between home console and emulation. It feels the same, this feels harder. Anyways, my point, case closed, let's move. So, this game feels hard, and I mean it's really, really difficult. The easy setting, not so much, but when you're playing through the campaign on the harder difficulties, Jesus Christ, this will give you a challenge, especially the boss levels. Because when you go against a boss, the whole gimmick of it is that you'll drive against the boss, obviously, you know, racing against them, and while you know, play, if they get ahead of you, or even if they're behind you, the entire time the boss is going to spam a certain item, whether that be potions, TNTs, nitros, or a combination of a couple. And it's quite bullshit, to be fair, you know, but it can't be changed. It was in the original game, so cut the developers some slack. Yeah, they can't do anything about that. Anyways, it's still difficult, especially the final level, you know, versus Oxide. Jesus Christ, that shit gave me a tough time, especially on hard mode. But the real difficulty in this game, as expected, does come from the online mode. And the online mode is, hey, always a bad time if you don't know how to play the game properly. Because everyone who plays on the online mode, chances are they are going to be extremely good at the game because they've played the original, or because they just play the game a lot. And obviously, you know, that's expected, but I didn't expect it to be as difficult as it is. Now, I can't describe it to you in words, you know, because I'm not the best of players, but if you think you're alright and you've got the game, go ahead, feel free, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It is very difficult to get a first place victory. I've only ever had one, and that's because I was sweating it away with Dingo Dial, but that's not the point. So, the game's difficult. Just expect that when you're going in. Don't expect it to be easy or anything like that. But the difficulty does make it more fun, you know, with all the extra game modes as well and how it makes them more difficult. It's not a bad thing, the game's difficult, but it's not really for beginners. And comparing that to another game, Team Sonic Racing, which is extremely easy, it's just a nice change of pace. Okay, so one of the most hyped features of this game, other than the multiplayer, was the pit stop. Now, if you don't know what the pit stop is, it's basically just it's just decals, you know, cosmetics that provide no in-game advantages, apart from the characters, obviously, because they all have different stats. But the pit stop is basically where you'll buy characters, different carts, decals, character skins, a whole bunch of different stuff like that. And the pit stop is managed well because you'll earn bumper coins as you play the game. It's something that just happens, so you don't really have to worry about grinding, because you'll always get a decent amount of bumper coins after each race, especially online. You'll get hundreds of them, but in you know, solo races you'll get under 100 most of the time, which is a bit disappointing. But obviously this encouragement to play online. But one of the things that pissed a lot of people off recently is that they've put microtransactions into the game to buy bumper coins. And while I don't have a big, you know, I'm not fussed about it personally because I'm not going to buy them, because I think it's a stupid idea and they're really overpriced considering the rate you learn them naturally playing the game. Yes, it's a big concern to most parents, and you know, them wanting to save their money and their children going ahead and buying these things, but there's nothing I can do about it. I don't work at Activision, but it did piss a lot of people off, and I can see why, but it doesn't bother me personally. But the pit stop, I think, was handled quite well, and it's another thing that is in TSR, but it's handled better in this game because you choose what you want rather than getting duplicates from random capsules, which are, in that game, they're pretty much loot boxes. I don't have many complaints about CTR, but I can complain about one thing, which is an issue I had with the Insane trilogy as well: the load times. Now, it sounds petty, I know, but what about in 2001 when The Wrath of Cortex came out on PS2? Everyone gave that game shit for having loading times that are long, but if you ask me, they're not that bad. I mean, obviously, I've played the game a million times. The Wrath of Cortex is my favourite Crash game to date, not counting kart racers, because if I was to count the kart racers as well, it might be neck and neck with this, I'm not sure. But yeah, surprise, surprise, Wrath of Cortex is my favourite Crash game. I've got a lot of nostalgia for it, and I just enjoy it every time I play it. I don't see the problems with it personally. Well, I do, but at the same time, I can just pass them. They're passable. But that game, the main complaint was the load times, but I think the load times were worse on the GameCube and Xbox versions. The PS2 version, I thought the load times were acceptable. I thought they were fine. Longest loading time for me on that was 9 seconds, and that's fine. Whereas games like Sonic 06, which yes, they did release later down the line, but they were on much powerful hardware, and it was an unfinished mess. Yeah, right, this is a bit of a shit comparison, to be fair. But yeah, they had 40-second load times, but this game is released on the PS4, coming to the end of its life cycle, and it still has loading times upwards of 15 seconds sometimes, and that's atrocious, and that's not even online. And the N. Trilogy had the same issue, and I have a regular PS4, not a Pro, and I know on the Pro it wouldn't be a big deal, but obviously, me being Commonwealth, I don't have all the money in the world, and I'm still a kid. I can't go out and buy a PS4 Pro with my own money. I don't have that type of cash. I'm just blessed to have what I have in the first place, you know. It's just, I'm lucky. I feel lucky. But yeah, I don't have a Pro, so the load times were quite long for me, and I know a lot of people do complain about the load times in this game. They are long, they are excessive, especially for newer hardware, but obviously we can't do anything about the load times. We could get a patch later down the line, but for now, that's my only complaint. I'll play a clip of the loading times now. As you can see, it almost took 25 seconds just to load this end podium screen, and the same loading time is, it's roughly 25 seconds for every loading screen, and that is unbelievable. Most of your playthrough will be sitting through loading screens, and that is quite unfortunate, but it is what it is, and yeah, the load times are just atrocious. It needs fixing. Considering everything from the single player, this game does offer a hefty amount of multiplayer content as well, and a lot of replay value. Obviously, there's the challenges. You can play through each map trying to get a relic or beat your own best time with a ghost, and you can do that to unlock Dr. Entropy as a character. You can play online, unlock everything from the pit stop. You can play this game to your heart's content, and I've not got bored of it yet. I've been playing it since release, and I'm not bored of it. Obviously, I won't play every day because I have things to do. I'm not free of time, despite me being on break from school at the minute. I have my final year of high school in a week's time from this video releasing, roughly. So that's going to be fun, I suppose. But yeah, during that time there won't be as many videos, just as a little heads up. But anyways, yeah, the game has a lot of replay value for anyone at any time. You can play the game at your own pace. It doesn't matter. But the one thing that is a little bit dodgy, well, it's not dodgy, but it's not available for everyone, is the Grand Prix that they've introduced. They'll introduce a Grand Prix system where the more you play, the more points you'll earn, and you can unlock characters, skins, cars, everything like that. Regular pit stop items, but they're exclusive to that time period, and also exclusive pit stop items for that time period are available as well, which not everyone's going to get. Like the last Grand Prix, which was the Twilight Tour one, I never managed to finish it, and I didn't grab everything from the pit stop either. And this one that's going on currently, the Prehistoric Playground, I've not even started it, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, I've started it, but I've not finished it. I've only got Baby T, and I've stopped there. But it's nice to know that they care enough about the community to bring us frequent events to keep us interested in the game. So obviously the people working on the game and its support, yeah, they're good people, they know what they're doing. But yeah, just in case you were wondering, is this game going to get boring? Probably not, no. But other than that, that's really all I have to say about CTR. Yeah, I'm lost for words. That's all I have to say about CTR Nitro-Fueled. probably, in my opinion, the best kart racer out there currently. It's one of the best kart races ever made, and potentially is the best kart racer ever made. It's certainly better than the original CTR with all its new content and stuff. You know, the game's a visual treat. It's eye candy. The soundtrack's amazing, with an option to switch to the OG soundtrack for nostalgic reasons, and it's just a great time. CTR Nitro-Fueled hasn't got boring for me at all, and I can't wait to see what the future of this game has. So with that being said, I can conclude this video and give CTR Nitro-Fueled a solid score of a 9.5 out of 10. It is fucking fantastic. You guys should pick this up whenever you can. So, with that being said, this game deserves to go back on the shelf. And that, my friends, concludes today's episode of Honest Reviews. So, Crash Team Racing, to sum it up briefly, is the best kart racer out there currently. I think everyone should go buy it, whether that's, you know, physical media for the PS4, Xbox One, or PC, whatever you guys feel like buying it on. Yeah, just get this game. It's fantastic. I couldn't recommend it enough. It's just great to see Activision and Beenox partner up to do this, because obviously people loved the Insane trilogy, and obviously there was high demand for CTR to be remade as well, you know, judging by the quality of the Insane trilogy. And it's just nice that Activision cared enough to bring Crash back into the spotlight once again for another remaster. But CTR is now back on the shelf, so what will I be covering next time, you may ask? Well, it's a game I've been dilly-dallying with for a little bit, you know, deciding whether or not I should do it or not, but I've come to the conclusion it's about time my favourite game of all time gets the Honest Reviews treatment. In the next episode, we will be covering this gem. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, and peace out.